The Draft Indie Podcast. I'm Grant Sinning. Tonight I'm joined by Alex Jacobson and Brian Krosky. It is week 3 coming up against the Chargers at home. I will be there, as you will see from my timeline on Sunday. I might have had a few beers and a few brats, but we'll be there. It'll be fun. Draft Indie reporting live. We should have Draft Indie reporting live 2 weeks in a row with our our international correspondent Ollie Dawes, but we'll see. You can't really count on Ollie to show up.
He's recovering from his account being suspended,
so
he's working on a new brand. So we don't know exactly how he's gonna fare.
I mean, I think the brand is the same, so maybe they'll suspend him again. And we'll all be blessed for it. So anyways, all right. So we haven't had a chance to talk to you guys since before the Lions game. And now that we're 2 games into the season, we're 0-2.
3 times.
So it's 3 seasons in a row, 0-2. We kept the coach who did that. And I'm not, it's okay to honestly say you're already on the fire truck train, because you shouldn't have left last year. So I think we're all just anticipating the Jim Harbaugh signing in January.
Please happen.
I think that's just the best case scenario, but we're not going to talk about that yet, because most likely somehow Chuck Pagano and co. are going to manage to pull 10 wins, 11 wins out of their ass, and all of a sudden we're in the AFC Championship game against Tom Brady's angry Patriots, and we lose 57-3. and then they go on to win a Super Bowl again, and then Brady will retire, and we'll all cry. But anyway, so let's talk about what's been going on here lately, guys. So we've been when it comes to the defense, let's just start there, because man, it's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it, gonna be bad, but we're down all of these corners and defensive backs, and they keep going out. They're dropping like flies. We're starting guys named Rashawn Melvin. Who's the other guy? We got Antonio Cromartie, Rashawn Melvin.
Morris. What is his? I don't know.
Yeah, Daryl Morris. Darius.
We had a
I don't know if these are real names.
To play corner today or last week.
Yeah. That was Rashawn Melvin, right?
No, there's another guy.
There's another guy.
Our 5th string safety who we got off the street had to play corner.
Okay, cool.
Remember July when we thought that Darius Butler filling in for safety would be the worst case scenario for the secondary?
Yeah. Gaithers came in and played really well, and then he got hurt on the same foot that he broke. So I think he's coming back.
He came back in, I believe.
Did he? I haven't had a chance to go back and watch it again. Mm-hmm. But it looks like with the release of Winston Guy, thank you, Grigson. Good move. I think Gaithers and Green should be healthy. If not, then they're okay with Rashawn Melvin and whoever playing safety. But it'll be interesting to see, because they both played well before they got injured in their various weeks. So we'll just hope to see what goes on with that. But when it comes down to it, there's 0 pass rush, which we knew was going to be there. There's the defensive line play we thought it was going to be the strongest part of the group, and it probably is, but it's been playing really bad.
Has not lived up to expectations.
Our linebackers are what we expected. One's really slow, and they play him a lot, and the other one's pretty inexperienced, I'd say, with C.O. Moore. The talent here is severely lacking. Like, our best player on defense the last 2 weeks has probably been Robert Mathis, and he hasn't gotten a sack. He's just
Well,
I don't
I
know.
would say Seymour was the best player against Detroit, especially that second half. The second half was actually really well, but I haven't been able to rewatch the game against Denver, so I don't know. But I'm just guessing
It was bad.
it was bad because like the first quarter of the Lions game, he was running like a chicken with his head cut off, and I guess that's his style. And so he was able to run himself into a few plays, and he actually had some really nice plays that I was able to find where he fought through traffic and was going sideline to sideline. But yeah, I don't know if you can pick one defense. Maybe Zach Kerr, but Zach Kerr didn't really do anything. In fact, Zach Kerr played like crap week 1, and it was all right week 2. So I don't think there's been a single player that's been good week 1 and week 2.
No. I mean, there's not. I mean, once the defense comes back full strength, Henry's back. Art Jones can be thrown into the rotation. Vontae's back. Patrick Robinson's back. The defense it'll look better, but it's still not going to be a good unit. They still won't have pass rush unless Henry somehow has magic ACL that turns into a strength or something. I don't know.
But even then, he's still limited as a pass rush.
Yeah,
he's not like
on the
pass
inside.
rush threat. Yeah.
He's limited on that inside. So I mean, we've got. I mean, who played? Cole was out, so Walden was splitting snaps with Kurt Magid, our undrafted free agent.
Kimera's gotten there a bit. Yeah, it seems to be what they're doing with him. Maybe just because they have more bodies at inside linebacker than pass rush, but he's been coming in as a 3-4 outside linebacker so far.
And I mean, he's made a couple of splash plays, but I don't think he's had enough consistent snaps in a row to do anything. But there was I can't remember if it was in week 1 or week 2 where he had a really good backside where they were running towards their right tackle and he slipped past their left tackle and was able to make the tackle for a loss. But
I'd like to think it says something about the Chimeras that they're using him after switching coming from a 4-3 scheme, because when they got they're using him immediately, because when C.O. Moore came over, they didn't use him at all until pretty much this preseason. But I think it says more about our depth or lack thereof rather than how good a Chimeras is.
Yeah, because the depth is non-existent. But other than that, in week 1, the Lions' offense matched up to the Colts' defense perfectly, and we said that before the game that their running backs are going to trash us, and they did. We tackled so bad. Man, that's bad. And to have a defensive head coach, and for your team to tackle like that, that's just so embarrassing to me.
Especially when you're noted at. The Colts teams of old were they were fast. They were really fast and athletic, and they're okay, we can see how they're not tackling because they're faster. And then this team are okay, slower guys, heavier guys, bigger, bulkier guys. Especially you talk about players like Geathers or even DeQuell Jackson for that matter. Zach Kerr, from where he plays, he's kind of oversized, and so you're okay, well, maybe they'll be slower, but when they should be able to wrap people up. Even once they get there, most of the time they don't get there, but when they get there, they should be able to wrap people up, and they haven't done either.
No, and even guys like C.O. Moore, they just miss tackles. They have that initial contact, and then they slip out, and that's what happened in week 1. That's what happened a couple times in week 2. But week 1, it was so evident. They were just able to just gash us. They would spread the field, then they would do long routes with the wide receivers, and then they would come back and just gash us for 10, 15, 20 yards with a running back dump off every time.
Theo Riddick and Amir Abdullah must have run that stupid angle route 40 times, and every time our inside guys would bite too hard outside, and they would just cut inside and be a 8-yard gain at least every time.
And that's what happened when there was 36 seconds left in the game.
Right. That initiated that.
That stupid little angle route, wheel route, maybe, I guess is what you're going to call it, and they are able to pick up 30 yards on one of them. It's just bad. I mean, we know DeQuell Jackson is limited athletically. Co Moore was supposed to be athletic, but even he's still not able to do it. I think.
Yeah,
He just runs without a cause.
yeah, he's. I don't think athleticism is a problem, and I noticed this in the Denver game too. It's not as much as he was missing tackles, but he was just overrunning plays consistently, and I think he overran those routes too when he was playing bass coverage on those ankle routes.
And I think we would have. Now this is hindsight, and whatever. I'm probably wrong. We probably would have won the Detroit game had T.J. Green not got hurt, because he would have been able to stop those runs. I think, at least prevented some of them.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what they do because they were going a lot of like three receiver and one tight end. And so if they let Green try to stop these, if they trusted Eric Ebron, the tight end, and let the linebackers try to get him, then I think we'd have a chance. But after Green got hurt, then they kind of had to stick to their default game plan, which is linebackers on running backs and tight ends guarded by safeties.
Yeah. All right. You guys have anything else you want to talk about the defense for the past 2 weeks?
Kind of underwhelmed by T.Y. McGill and Zach Kerr. I think Zach Kerr like one sack, but I mean those missed tackles he had against Detroit were like bad. Like those were like terrible, and they were back. I remember it was the back-to-back plays, and Riddick got like back-to-back like 14-yard gains. So I mean, you expect like their explosiveness to be able to get in the backfield. We saw all season them making tackles. Really haven't seen T.Y. McGill do anything. So, I mean, those are just the two guys we were riding on. While, I mean, Langford's back, but he's not like 100%. Henry's gone. Art is gone. So, like, we expected those guys from the flashes that we saw to do something. They really haven't.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw from Kerr this week, but last week was such a mess that it barely makes up for it. A few positives. I've liked what I've seen from Mathis. Mathis looks a little better than he did last year, at least to me. Cole still looked good in that Detroit game.
I think Cole was definitely besides Seymour, at least like rushing the passer. He was
I think he's like he's not a great pass rusher, but he's so much better than anything else we have, and he can in both facets of the game. And then I liked what I've seen for both the safeties too. Gathers and Green, when healthy, have looked good. Oh, and DeQuell Jackson is still what he is, and that's like he's still chugging along and still being good enough in the run game to still deserve a starting spot. So compared to what else we have, he is definitely not worth getting rid of.
That, and one thing that I know they kept DeQuell Jackson for, and I had a vine for it when he was I think it was T.Y. McGill. He had like a quarterback pressure and it hit like he literally like slapped him on the ass and like told him, because he was like in a shadowing like 3 tech, and like I guess he was out of position and like moved them to the 1 tech. And then there was another play in the game too where I think it was either Kerr or Perry, and they were like on nose, and he told him like to get back, like move him over in the 1 tech. So like, and there was another like good play, like tackle for a loss. So like, one thing that DeQuell Jackson is, like, he's still definitely the leader of this defense. You can tell that after many years he's adjusted to the role and he's able to put guys in the best position. And listen, you have to, when you take an incomplete pass off a hurry from T.Y. McGill because DeQuell Jackson put him in the right position to succeed, you have to take that when it's presented.
No, I agree. And I mean, leadership is definitely something, it's intangible, I guess, but I mean, it's something that they obviously, this regime obviously values very highly, and you need that leader out there, because I mean, Freeman could have been that guy if they chose to go with him instead of Jackson or whatever, but I just think that DeQuell's been in the league for so long that he demands that kind of respect. And I mean, so does Mathis too, but Mathis isn't your every down player.
No, and that's kind of traditional. The leader of your defense is your Mike linebacker. And you almost wonder the way like Jarrell talked about things is, one, either they didn't want him to be, or two, he didn't want to be in that position. So I feel, talent alone, we knew Jarrell Freeman was better than DeQuell Jackson, but I think going to, Chuck Pagano's mannerisms and what he looks for in a player is the reason why DeQuell Jackson is still a starting inside linebacker for the Colts.
No, I agree. All right, let's focus on the offense for the past 2 weeks, I'm going to go ahead and start by saying Andrew Luck's back. Kinda.
Plus up.
Plus up. He's trending forward. So, week 1, that was the Andrew Luck that we all know he can be. He gouged the Lions. I mean, he was making the most beautiful throws I've ever seen him make. Honestly, that was a brilliant performance. Week 2, he's playing the NFL's top defense. I mean, unless you guys think there's another defense that's better, it's obviously the Broncos.
Aren't they like statistically like one of the best 5 defenses of all time?
I mean, yeah,
like,
I think so. But
they're up there ever.
And they also have probably arguably the best player in the NFL on their defense in Von Miller. I mean, the whole NFL.
I would say that.
It's Von Miller, in my opinion. And Joe Wright's handled his own last couple times they met, but not this time. Not this time. And is it Joe Wright's fault? Yeah, probably. But also, they did not help him. They didn't give him tight end help like they had in the past. They didn't give him running back help like they had in the past. And they said it in the broadcast, and it's really true. Where Joe Wright is right now athletically, they lined him up out so wide, and Von Miller's just twice his athleticism that he lined up. He probably lined up like almost like a 10 technique. Like he was way wider than the 9 technique. I mean, he was. I mean, he was at the hash marks at one of them, I think. And I mean, it was just like he comes and he can make any move he wanted to, and he did. And it was a bad week for Joe last week, and kind of week 1 as well. But I still think he's probably our best option there.
Yeah, I still haven't lost faith. He was going against 2 pretty good defensive lines in specifically Von Miller this week, but Detroit's got some players on the edge that did well. I think this week certainly could serve as a bounce back for him, and I still think he's did some nice things in those games, but he definitely had those moments, especially against Von Miller, where he just got embarrassed.
But I think what we can say about the offensive line is that it is markedly better than last year.
Anthony, you want to talk about players being back? Costanzo's back. Costanzo's played very well. Obviously, he wasn't amazing against DeMarcus Ware, but against Ziggy Ansah, that's top tier Anthony Costanzo that we've seen before, and the reason why he got that contract, because obviously they did a little to help him, but after the first quarter, you didn't see Ziggy Ansah make a single play in the backfield, pressure, hit, anything. So, and PFF rewarded him for that. So I'd really like to see what Costanzo, Muhort's made a lot of mental lapses. That's a thing that
he's still good. Hurt. You can see it.
Muhort and Denzel Good, like, we know what they are athletically, and they're pretty high if you want to talk about just guard athleticism and strength. They're high up there, but they've made a lot of mental mistakes, and that could be Muhort being a power guy playing in a zone scheme and Denzel Good not playing much guard. So I think that's a lot of room for improvement. But, I mean, when the athleticism there, you're hoping that a great coach like Joe Philbin, who's worked his way up to a head coach, who's now teaching offensive line, you think that he can spend a lot of time teaching them that because their athleticism there. And then Kelly's been very good. He gets pushed back, but he doesn't really lose, and that's, I guess, what you can ask for from a rookie in the first 2 weeks.
I just want to talk about that really quick. Like, I watched all of his snaps today, just him, because I hadn't really heard much about him. I was interested how he did, and I counted, I think, 3 or 4 snaps where he just lost, but 2 of them were by really good plays by the defensive line. One was like an awesome spin move that was just hard to handle. One was a bull rush where he did get under his pads and pushed him back, and Kelly will have that happen to him time to time. But other than that, he's solid in both the physical aspect and the mental aspect. He's looking for work when there's not any work, or when there's not work right in front of him. He's going to look and helping these guards that are sometimes struggling. He's switching when they do stunts and the guy comes across from him. He's switching responsibilities and picking that up pretty well. So I've really liked what I've seen from him after
the season. I'm worried about Denzel Good, and I haven't bought into him yet. He really, I was surprised with the PFF grade after week one because, like I said, there were a lot of mental lapses. There was a couple of stunts where he was just on his back. Like I said, I think the connection in the second level of him just isn't there yet, and there was a lot of missed tackles. And I think one thing that this team is trying to do is that they're focusing on those second level blocks,
And they're not getting the first level
they're
block
missing the
at all.
blocks. Like,
Yeah.
it's absolutely
It's bad.
ridiculous, and that's something that I can't understand because when you have someone like Frank Gore, whose vision is very well, we've seen Frank Gore have some good plays this year, and especially last year when the blocks are there. I don't get why Jack Mewhort's folks and Denzel Good are focusing on blocks 7 yards up the line of scrimmage when they're not even chipping on their initial assignment.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed a lot. Like you like if you're not watching the ball and you're watching the offensive line, you're like, man, like honestly, I mean, here's a knock on Frank Gore. Good vision, athleticism completely gone. If we had a more athletic running back in there, maybe he might be able to break past that first line, and then there'd be some big holes in the second level because they're there in the second level. They're making those blocks in the second level, but he just can't get past that first level, like at all.
Yeah, no, like when I was watching Kelly, it was when the plays when either there'd be pressure up the middle or the run lanes would be clogged. It was all because not from Kelly, but the guys around him were coming in, and so like there was a rep where it was an inside zone play, and he was running in the just off the center, and Good, I believe it was, just got pushed right into the gap, and Gore had nowhere to run. And like even a really athletic running back isn't going to be able to make much out of that. So I haven't hated what I've seen from any of them, and it's definitely much better than last year. But it seems like every running play, there's always some mistake that ends up costing that what could be a big gain to make it a 3-yard, 2-yard gain.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could just clean up some of those mistakes, and we could be seeing some consistent 5 or 6 yard gains.
Yeah, I mean those secondary blocks and getting the right gaps and blocks is the difference between these 2-yard gains we're seeing and 4-yard gains we're seeing. I mean, it sounds minimal, but time after time, it makes a big difference, and that's just in terms of morale, it's huge because like you think 4 yards a carry is about average anywhere, but anywhere pretty much 4 yards a carry and above is good in the NFL, and to even be average with a running attack for the Indianapolis Colts, you take that.
Am I wrong to ask for more snaps for Robert Turbin?
He had when I was starting the offense week one, he was taking about 50% of the snaps from 11 personnel, which is a little bit surprising. That's because they were using Gore a lot more with 2 tight ends. But I don't know. I mean, Robert Turbin kind of is just like Frank Gore. Like, he has the vision. It's just there's only so much athletically he can do, and he gets caught behind the line of scrimmage a lot. So, I mean, I guess so. Maybe just to limit Frank Gore a little bit, but I don't know.
I think they need to work on more outside runs. I think they've seen some more success in the outside running game than they have in between the tackles.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But
and
Frank
I think
Gore is not the guy to do it.
Guys pulled off. Yeah, I think we saw from Turbin on that pitch play that was awesome.
That was a really good play.
That was one of the best plays we ran all day. Costanzo had an awesome block. Turbin got to the outside, and Turbin and Ferguson can both do that. But I think at this point, I'd rather see Turbin probably play over Ferguson. But I agree. Yeah, some off tackle things, even some pitches here and there. I think you have to try it because the tackles, or at least Costanzo, is one of the strengths of this offensive line, and so running his way is usually going to be better than running up the middle.
I would say you keep Ferguson in for those 2-minute drill situations, like obvious passing downs, but like during the game, like third quarter, 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, third quarter, 2nd and 7. I don't want to see Josh Ferguson.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so talk about the offensive line. Positives there, some concern. When are we going to see my boy Joe Haig? I don't know. Maybe we don't, and that's okay.
If Reitz or Good doesn't bounce back or look better, I wouldn't be surprised if they go to Haig if and when he's healthy, because I'm still thinking he's a long-term starter on this.
Yeah,
game shooter than
and Harrison's really bad.
yeah.
The
The difference between
Harrison,
Kelly and Harrison is awesome, by the way.
Harrison goes in, instant flag. I mean, there's like the second play, Harrison's in the game. There's a flag for holding, and that was
I noticed. I noticed on the Monday Night Football game, Cody Whitehair, the Rams' new or the Bears' new rookie center, got a full start, which is always impressive to me when a rookie center when a center can get a full start, considering they're the ones who dictate when the play starts. But I don't have the data, but I bet nobody did that more than Jonathan Harrison last year. So no more of that.
Yeah, I mean,
if Hay comes in, I think it's for Denzel Good. Just because I don't know. I mean, that's just my personal opinion because I think Denzel Good's struggling. Like I think he's below.
I wonder if they would consider putting Haig at guard and moving Good back up tackle if Good continues to struggle. I'm interested in that.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, but we'll have to see. I think they want to stick with 5 guys. And they're going to.
There's an inevitable injury coming, and we'll see how they respond to that. But
yeah, it was good. I mean, did he come? He didn't come back in, so I don't know if he's still hurt.
Harrison was playing guard, so I don't know how he is now.
We will see. All right, let's go to tight ends. Hey, I'm just going to go ahead and brag. Jack Doyle, he's the man, and I don't care what anybody says. Jack Doyle's good. And you know,
I don't care if he's good; he's better than Kobe Fleener.
Woo! Yeah,
he actually is though. It's not a joke anymore.
No,
he's
actually
Kobe
better.
is really bad, and he's showing that in New Orleans. And Doyle's
the light has been shed on the entire NFL mainstream media exactly how bad Kobe Fleener is.
And it's good. It's a good thing because I remember arguing with some Saints fan back in the day, or back when they signed him, and I was just like, "Man, you got a really bad football player."
They paid him legit money.
He's top 7 paid tight end, if not top 5. So his deal. Well, I guess Dwayne's up there too, but Kobe's deal's longer. Kobe's deal is like $32 million for 5 years, and Dwayne's is $28 for 4. I think. But anyways, Jack Doyle's better than Kobe Fleener, and I could have told you that. You know, you guys should have listened to me 2 years ago, because Jack Doyle, what does Jack Doyle never do? Jack Doyle never falls backwards, guys, and he will always fall forward. And he looked like a beast in that Lions game, and he had a pretty decent catch he broke TJ Ward's ankles. That happened. It happened, and it was beautiful. And I'm wearing a Jack Doyle jersey to the game on Sunday.
Nice.
I got it for Christmas. I didn't ask for it, but because I've talked about Jack Doyle on this podcast forever now, my father-in-law was like, "Hey, let's get him a Jack Doyle jersey." And you know what, Rick? Thanks. I'll treasure that jersey. And I'm going to wear it. And you know what? Now you get these articles coming out, you know, like today, everyone's favorite teammate, Jack Doyle. Of course it is.
Yeah.
I mean, of course it is. It's Jack Doyle. That guy is a jack of all trades. And no Doyle rules. So, I mean, you know what? You know, Jack Doyle's good. Dwayne Allen, I think Dwayne Allen just needs to get more consistent.
Yeah.
And he's definitely better than Doyle when he's playing well. But they're actually playing Doyle more than Allen, which is weird.
So, in what situations? Because
he gets more snaps.
Are you sure about that?
I'm like fairly positive he's getting more snaps.
Okay, it definitely wasn't. It must have been week 2 because week 1, they were in 21 personnel. Obviously, they were both playing, but in 11 personnel, I think Dwayne Allen had like 89% of the snaps at tight end.
Hold on.
That's just from my. If you're looking at PFF, I haven't completed the whole week 1 charting that I'm doing, but I know within 11 personnel, Dwayne Allen had like literally every snap except for like 2.
All right, you know what? You're right. 111 snaps for Dwayne Allen, 84 snaps for Jack Doyle.
I mean, it's 30 more. I mean, that's a good ratio for what we've seen Jack Doyle do.
Right. I mean, that's yeah. Okay, but anyways,
it's 40 snaps a game.
I hate PFF. I just want their snap counts. I'll pay $20 for their snap counts. They've got Dwayne Allen graded at a 54, and they've got Jack Doyle graded at a 72.6. It's great. But anyways, I think our tight end situation is going to be helped because Chudzinski is actually a tight end whisperer. And I think you'll see Jack Doyle play really well because he's not only a tight end whisperer, he's the white guy. He's the white tight end whisperer. No offense to Dwayne Allen, but you look at Chudzinski's track record with white
Dwayne's a
tight ends.
He's like a Tea Party Republican. So
That's true. That's true. I mean, Tea Party Dwayne, he's out there. You guys seen anything from Eric Swope? I mean, I don't know how much he's played. 14 snaps. So
I haven't seen anything yet from him.
He came in on a jumbo set. There was a 3 tight end set last week.
I saw a play when one of Dorsett's big catches in the Denver game. Swoop also got open on a corner route for what that's worth.
So yeah, I mean, tight ends, I think they're going to be continually consistent, and I think they'll get a lot of looks in the pass game, especially when we're not playing the best defense in the NFL. Next week will be good because they don't have Eric Weddle anymore. Their linebackers are run stoppers, and Manti Te'o is not good, and they'll have Verrett on either Dorsett or Hilton, and then their corners are bad after that as well. So we'll talk about that game in just a minute. Let's go to the wide receivers. Moncrief hurt. We don't know how long. MRI is getting a second opinion, I guess, from what I read this afternoon. So we're not sure on what's going on with him. He looked really good when he was playing. Hilton has looked like Hilton. He's getting locked down by number 1 corners now, which is to be expected. Dorsett. Dorsett. We like Dorsett. When you ask us why we criticize Dorsett, maybe he shouldn't have been a first-round pick. But he's still a good player. Now, he's very good this year.
I think he's been really good this year.
He's been very good this year. And I think to see him continue on growing is going to be really good. I think he might end up, depending on how long Moncrief is out, he probably will solidify himself as being actually a better wide receiver than a lot of people give him credit for, because he was that first-round pick and then he was hurt all last year. So there's that. But other than that, I think consistent. Well, we've got Quan Bray I don't think has even been on the field. I think they played Chester Rogers over him when it comes to passing down situations.
I think Quan Bray had 1 reception in the Denver game.
Okay, well, I'm wrong. I haven't looked at. I haven't watched that game again. But
yeah.
But anyways, so I don't think there's not much to fear when it comes to wide receivers. Hopefully Moncrief can get back soon. We don't know exactly what his injury is, but we still have that IR designate to return status if something like that is necessary. He would be a good player to use that on, especially if it's like a broken collarbone or something that could heal within 4 to 6 weeks. Something like that. Okay, where are we at now? Quarterback? Andrew Luck. Okay, we talked about him just for a second, but are you guys seeing the issues that we saw last year from Andrew Luck? So, obviously, during the game, during the first week, everyone was all over Luck, like, oh my God, he's back, technician, surgeon, etc., etc. Last week, it's like everyone comes back out of the woodworks, oh my God, he's so bad. Was it on him 100%? Or
100% no, but I still think there was those flashbacks of him when the rare good pockets were formed. He was still overthrowing passes from. I just quickly watched the condensed game today from when I could, but just looking at some of the. Obviously, I was focusing on the pockets with DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller, but I feel like there were enough good pockets for him to deliver throws, and he just wasn't making that. And I think it was still a lot of mental stuff. But I think the Detroit game's one of the best games I've ever seen him play. Like, the throws in that were ridiculous. The one throw to Hilton, the one that he bobbled and miraculously caught, the one in the red zone. Like I think that's one of Andrew Luck's like best like three throws of all time. Like if you actually like slow it down and watch it, like if that ball was like eight like tenths of inches like off anywhere, like it would have been completed. Like that literally, you want to talk about like pinpoint accuracy. Like he was absolutely lethal against Detroit. I mean, Detroit still has a good defensive line. Obviously, nothing like Denver, but I think just the whole overwhelming idea of having to face so much pressure off the edge against Denver just made him see some of those ghosts, because I think there were a lot of throws that he could have made that he just didn't, and the mental stuff is what scares you the most. And then you see him force like three missed tackles, roll out, and then throw like a great throw to Dante Moncrief on the side. And you're like, okay, well, he can do that, but he can't stand in the pocket and throw a crossing route to Dwayne Allen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, 2 games isn't enough to, I mean, you can watch one game and then you watch another game, and I mean, we're still waiting. I mean, I think, again, I mean, their defense is just so good.
Yeah, I mean, they're just ridiculous. But, like, I don't need any other conviction to know that Andrew Luck is still great, seeing him against the Lions. Like, the Lions are an average defense, maybe would you say? Probably in, like, that 16 to 20 range overall, just in terms of their, like, talent on all three levels of the defense. So, like, when you see that, I don't really need any other conviction to know what to expect from him.
Yeah. Alex, you got anything on this subject?
I don't think he was definitely the guy to blame. He wasn't good. He wasn't as good as he needed to be to win that game. But again, it's really hard to beat the Denver with how a lot of the guys outside of Luck performed in that game, including the defense, including the offense. And I don't think 20 points against that defense is the end of the world, especially when they had a few field goals that definitely could have and should have been touchdowns. So I still, and even the interception was, I don't think, that bad of a play.
No, I think that was a really
was more
good
on
play.
Dorsett.
Yeah, and it was a really good play by Aqib Talib as well.
Yeah, it was a really good play by Aqib Talib. So definitely not a good performance, but it's not anything to make me less optimistic about him after how great he was in that Detroit game.
Right. I mean, yeah, no, I'm not even going to go down that avenue. Okay, so let's talk real quick. 2 more subjects for this evening, and then we're going to go. Rookie MVP so far. Who's the rookie? Probably everyone's got the same answer, but maybe not. Who's your favorite rookie so far?
My favorite rookie is TJ Green, but I think the best one has usually been Ryan Kelly. He's really good and is really good early on, as everybody projected. But TJ Green has been such a different type of player than the rest of our roster when healthy, and assuming he comes back at full strength either this week or the week after or whatever, he should make the secondary at least have some pop to it in that safety spot.
Same answer. I'm not even. You said it all.
Most outstanding player, TJ Green. Most valuable player, Ryan Kelly. And then most improved player is Ridgeway, because I think he's played a lot better than what was indicated during the preseason. And he's playing a lot. He's playing a lot more. Like the amount of snaps, I'm like, who's 91 on the defensive line? I keep remembering it's Ridgeway. And we had a lot of. Yeah, I was like, Jonathan Newsom back, but I think he's playing more, and I think he's playing better.
Fair enough. I'm gonna stick with Alex's answer. All right, so let's talk about the Chargers game coming up, and well, no, we won't even go into the Jaguars game because they're a factory of sadness all on their own. The best thing ever, and I mean, I want to win against the Chargers, but I really would like to be 0-3 against an 0-3 Jaguars in London, because that game is just going to be so good. That game would be so much better than a 1-2 versus a zoo. Like, you know what I mean? I just think that game would be so good. Twitter would be so much fun, and it's going to be at 9:30 a.m. for us.
To wake up to that.
To wake up to that shit fest. So, and that's what it's going to be either way. Because they're really bad. Like, I love it. The Jaguars are posed to make a title run or to win the AFC South, and it's like They're not. They're an actual bad football team. Like we're leagues better than they are, even though our records are the same. They're just a bad football team, and they probably have a worse coach. They have the worst coach
Oh,
in the
I was just
NFL.
gonna say we have the 31st worst coaching situation. They have the 32nd.
Yep. And then the 30th probably is the Titans.
Titans, yeah.
So it's God bless the AFC South because no one else will. Okay, so Chargers game. They are down their top 2 offensive weapons.
Top 3.
Who?
Well, Brandon Oliver. I mean, who else? I mean, I guess Antonio Gates is.
Melvin Gordon's better than Brandon Oliver.
Oh, I keep
been
forgetting he's good. I keep forgetting he's good now.
Oh yeah, he's good now. But they did just play Jacksonville, and who was the other team they played? The Bears? No.
Kansas City. They blew a
Kansas City
20-something point lead.
Okay, so they're 1-1. Okay. So yeah, they're down. Danny Woodhead, blessed his soul. Keenan Allen.
It would do the same things that Amir Abdullah and
Yeah,
Riddick did to us in week 1.
yeah, but he's no longer there. Brandon Oliver would have too.
Yep.
I think he broke his leg.
Yeah, that vine that went around of what happened to his leg.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. That's bad.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
But Phillip Rivers is Phillip Rivers. He's a notorious cult killer. He's had our number forever. And honestly, I mean, they got Travis Benjamin, who is faster than any of our cornerbacks could ever hope to be. Tyrell Williams actually played pretty well. Played pretty well in the preseason. He was one of those guys that I was watching deep dynasty stashes, and it's actually going to turn out well for me.
Own him in both of mine.
Yep. I own him in 3 leagues. Pretty excited about that fact. I owned him before the Keenan Allen injury, which is even better. But anyways, Keenan Allen was seriously one of my favorite wide receivers in the NFL, and I'm very sad that he's injured. It works out in our favor this week, but their offense, and without Danny Woodhead, their offense is going to be in a weird place. So they've got to lean. They got to lean on Melvin Gordon, and they've got a fast guy and Tyrell Williams and like an ancient tight end who's still good.
Mm-hmm.
But their offense, I think we've got a good chance to win this game.
But like ever since LaDainian Tomlinson retired, like Philip Rivers has been throwing to nobodies his whole career. He's been putting out like monster numbers. Like that's something that like you can definitively say is that like for 3 years wasn't Philip Rivers was like leading receiver Malcolm Floyd.
Yeah.
Like Philip Rivers has been throwing to nobodies his entire life and making it work. Now I can't remember. Norv Turner was their coach at the time. I know Norv Turner always had a good offensive system, but man, Philip Rivers makes the most of nothing. Like I like they really always were the team that had no wide receivers, never invested in it, and Philip Rivers threw for 4,200 yards every year.
Yeah, I mean he's super underrated quarterback. I think he's fairly good, but again, it'll be interesting. Let's see which of our DBs are back, but like I feel comfortable about this game. Their offensive line hasn't been too good over the past few years.
No, bad offensive line.
They're better this year, but they're still. I mean, they literally have all tackles. Like they're all their offensive line is just tackles. Like their centers are tackle, their guards are tackles, their tackles are tackles. I mean, it's weird, but it'll be an interesting game because we really need something to get our defense kick-started, and maybe this game will be it. Switching to their defense versus our offense, Jason Verrett, probably a top 5 corner in the league. He's really, really good. If Jay was here, he'd tell you that he's probably his favorite cornerback ever, but he's not here. He's also one of Kyle's favorite guys, and we'll talk about Kyle at the end. But other than that, they got Melvin Ingram, who has been coming on as a pass rusher. He came on late last season. I've seen some talk from Chargers guys and other film watchers about how he's really stepped up his game lately. It'll be interesting to see. He'll mostly be up against Costanzo. But
probably.
Excuse me. Other than that, Denzel Perryman, rolling ball of butcher knives.
I mean, the Pearman's really good at filling in blocks. Like he was what DeQuell Jackson was when DeQuell Jackson was on the Browns. But like I'm still confident the Colts will be able to scheme against him if he is in coverage. Manti Te'o isn't good. That's simple. And then I think Brandon Mebane is their nose tackle that they got from Seattle. So I don't know exactly.
I
I
still
don't know
think they
how
got
good he
Lawrence
is.
Guy, right?
I don't know who that is.
The
I don't
Lord,
know
it's
how
the
good Mebane is because doesn't have like Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett around him. So I wonder that, but I mean, I don't know. The Chargers, like going through the season, people thought the Chargers had like one of the worst rosters in the NFL, and we've maybe forgot about that because Philip Rivers is good, but like overall, I just don't. There's nothing. Jason Verrett and Philip Rivers are the only like two players. Like I'm actually like you really have to game plan and scheme for against, and that I'm actually worried about.
I think Alex just left us. But there's one aspect of the game that we haven't talked about yet. This is the Dwight Lowry revenge game. So.
Oh, is he on the Chargers?
Yeah, he is. So.
Yeah, but he's been a journeyman his whole life. Is he really looking for revenge?
Whoa. Watch your mouth.
I mean, is he really looking for revenge?
No, this is a revenge game. That's the storyline I'm sticking to. I think everyone else should stick to. Definitely Dwight Lowry revenge game. Don't forget it. Okay, so I think we win this game. Hopefully we win this game because I'm driving up to Indiana for this game. Paid some money on some tickets for this game. Gonna get a little wild at this game. I really wanted my friend. So me and my friend have been doing this since I moved down south. He buys into home game tickets. I buy the Titans tickets because the Titans is 2 hours from where I live. Nashville is 2 hours from where I live. So we'll go stay in a hotel in Nashville, go to the Titans game, and then I'll go up to Indiana. I wanted him for this game to spend an extra, $250 or whatever, so we could have 3 seats next to each other, just so I could have we're sitting next to Manti Te'o's girlfriend sign. But he wasn't down to spend the extra cash, and I get it, but I wish he would have. I mean, I think that would have been great. But it's one of those things. It's like, man, that was like 3 years ago. But you know what? People never forget when you make up a dead girlfriend story, and it goes national news. Come on. So I'm hoping Colts Nation out there who listens to our podcast that might go to the game, if you got a spare seat, don't sell it. Make a Manti Te'o's girlfriend sign. It'll be
think about the internet possibilities.
Yeah, think about the memes. And with that, I think we bid you adieu.
Yeah, I just want to say I've been on Twitter this week saying like I don't see how the Colts can lose this game. And then people are like, oh, it's a hot take. Like, this team's bad. But, like, one, the Chargers aren't that good. I get Philip Rivers is a Colts killer. But, like, do you really think the Colts are, like, destined to lose a game like this? Like, do you think they would give us any hope that there's a chance of Chuck Pagano getting fired or any chance of hope that there's, another rebuilding step in this year? And I can't buy that with this team because that's what we expected last year. We got 8-8. So I just see a win here, and especially since it's at home. I don't think they've ever lost back-to-back home games. I don't think they've ever lost 3 consecutive games in a row. And after the 0-2 starts, I just see a W because I don't think that they want us to embrace rebuilding.
See, I hear you. I think we'll win too. But
I think
if we go 0-3, are they firing Chuck Pagano? No, because they waited until week 11 to get a win with Jim Caldwell last time. So we were 0-11. Jim Caldwell's still on the sidelines, giving us the Admiral Akbar face. And I mean, he gave it to us strong in week 1. I hope people were paying attention. That game was a trap the whole time. He has no emotions. He's not. I think he's just a shell of a person with a football computer in his brain socket. He smiled at the end when he won, and someone patted him on the back. I saw that, and I was like, man, that was the Jim Caldwell revenge game. And But anyways, I mean, when it comes to this Chargers game, man, I don't think that honestly, I hate to say it like this, but I don't think there's any way that we lose. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not trying to be cocky or anything like that. I just don't see this team going 0-3, especially against a defense that's not that good,
Mm-hmm.
and a very hurt
I
offense.
I think
So
their defense is probably worse than the Lions
yeah, that's definitely true. They
because I
don't have an
mean
elite pass rusher.
Zayats is far better than Ingram. Verrett's definitely
Verrett's
better
better than
than any player
Slay.
on the Lions, I
Yeah,
would say.
Verrett's better
But
than Slay, but they're as a whole, like I mean, besides Dwight Lowry, the rest of their DBs are pretty bad. So
mhm.
it's not something we got to worry about. Okay, so now we will say goodnight and goodbye. We will be back after the Jaguars game, I think. So we will see where we're at then. But for now, I'm actually going to leave you with a snippet of my new favorite song at the end of this podcast if you're listening to it on iTunes or Android. And, have a good few weeks, and we'll see you later. Actually, I should have said, I was going to say goodbye. Kyle, if you're listening to this, I'm really happy for you, man. Congratulations. Kyle is getting married on Saturday. Wish you nothing but the best, man. You're one of our best friends on Twitter. You're one of our guys, and you deserve all the happiness in the world. And we hope that everything goes smoothly for you. And come back to us when you can. But I know you'll be a little bit busy, with wedding stuff afterwards. So, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
All right,
He'll
yeah,
be a little busy.
all right, let's end this podcast.
All right. See you guys.